My goodness, Tesla vs Lovecraft is a fun game. This is a twin sticks shooter that sees you take on the named Tesla, and basically you have to fight off hordes and hordes of Lovecraft's evil minions. This is done in such a way that the game just feels constantly fun and exciting. Now take for example the different pickups. In each level you're presented with a few pickups that randomly spawn, and you have to obviously run around. Yet you also have the ability to phase shift by pressing one of the R buttons. This adds a really nice tactical element to the game, and you find yourself using this and timing it to jump through your enemies. Later in the game you have the ability to add perks onto your character. These can be selected as you play. So for example, imagine you get 1,000 kills in a row, and then all of a sudden it will pop up with this perk button. You press the Y button and you're able to add on a special ability during the gameplay. I think it was this mechanic that kept the game just so exciting. You'd be in a difficult situation, your gun would be firing really slowly, and then you press the Y button and you get the option of choosing two random perks. One of these might say plus 20% fire rate. Now in any difficult situation, this was the one I went to, and 20% extra fire rate is massive when you've got a gun like a shotgun or maybe the Tesla cannon. And that takes me on to the next thing. The weapons in this game were absolutely incredible, and they just kept coming. Every 1 or 2 levels you'd be presented with a new weapon, and you found that it would completely mix up the gameplay and make it a much more tactical experience than I was expecting. Towards the beginning of the game, the weapons are really standard fare. You have your pistols, your shotguns, and my favourite, the Tommy gun. And as you progress, you unlock all kinds of crazy weapons. Now I don't want to spoil this for you guys, but there are Tesla shotguns, there's Gauss rifles, and it just gets better and better. It's like the developers were just like, okay, we're going to make all these weapons, we're going to keep all of our favourite ones, just let the player have these basic ones, and we're just going to drip feed the good stuff. And the more and more you play, oh my goodness, you'll see for yourself, this game has some meaty weapons. The sound effects on them are chunky, they're pleasant to listen to, but more importantly, they just work so well. And we'll combine this with the perk system, which lets you upgrade the weapons on the fly. So as I mentioned before, you might unlock a perk that, for example, doubles the number of bullets that you can fire, or it doubles the speed, or it triples the damage. As you're playing and being able to do this, it means that every level is unique, and if you play well, you're rewarded by getting more of those unlocks of the perks. And as I'm sure you can imagine, more perk unlocks means better guns, it means better special abilities, and generally just a more fun game, and one that makes you feel like you're winning because you're good. What I also absolutely loved was the way that you progress through the map. Now you're travelling through I don't know what you'd call it really. Is it like a 16th century London? Maybe that's not the right era at all, it's like Victorian London. But anyway, you get the picture. You're travelling through London on the map, and you gradually make your way through the game, and you'll also notice as you're playing that there's these 2 other dimensions that are available at the start, but you're not really told what you can do with those. Now suffice to say, later in the game you do get to unlock those, and they add a lot, and I mean a lot, of gameplay and longevity to the game. I was just so surprised by this. Now add on to this the fact that, and SwitchUp, I know you guys are going to be watching this, there is the inevitable survival mode that unlocks about 10 levels into the game. Now this mode sees you against wave after wave of enemies, and the skills that you've already unlocked in the game are usable in this mode. So as was suggested to me by Juan over at SwitchUp, you're going to want to unlock some levels before you go into this mode trying to beat your friends who have got a much higher score than you. Don't worry Glenn, we've got this. We also have online leaderboards between friends. you get global leaderboards as well. So when you are playing and hopefully winning, you'll see that your score rises up and up the ranks. Now at the moment, Glenn is I think 70th in the world on the survival mode. I think he's beaten Switchwatch's score. I'm not sure though, because I think Juan is just getting better and better at that game, so we shall see. Either way, I haven't actually played that mode yet, and I know for a fact I'm going to be completely hooked on it. Gameplay is really this game's crowning glory, and it's why I've spent almost 5 minutes talking about it. Gameplay here is getting 19 out of 20. For a twin stick shooter, it is almost perfect. I can't honestly think of many things they can do better. As you can see from the graphics on the screen, they look absolutely lovely. The design and style fit perfectly with that Victorian era, and there are a really good number of power-ups, enemies and environments. Now there are some times when the backgrounds do get a bit samey and you seem to hit the same environment, albeit with a slightly shifted around map, a few different times, but overall they're very well structured. They're a little bit like a good deathmatch map on say Counter-Strike. They're structured in such a way that you have to use your abilities and you have to use your skill to lure the enemies. You can hide behind fences, you can jump over short gaps, and generally they're designed to make you play the game well, and this was evident from start to finish. The graphics compare favourably with the console versions already on offer, such as the PS4 and also the PC. It runs at fluid 60 frames per second, and in handheld mode as well, which is where I play most of my gaming, it just looks beautiful on that crisp 720p screen. So for me, graphics get an admirable 17 out of 20. Now there's nothing worse than when you have a game that plays well, a game that looks good, but that sounds terrible. And as I'm sure you know, this does not sound terrible. Just listen to this. It's a rarity that a game can combine perfect gameplay, not perfect, but you know what I mean, with absolutely spot on sound and vibration. Everything here is done exceptionally well, and I don't say that lightly. The gun sounds are just ideal. When you do get those more advanced weapons, it's just perfect. Just listen to the sound of this blade. It just sounds amazing, right? And every time you use it, you feel like that was a genuine power-up. It was something that caused massive destruction. Now you might be thinking, okay, yeah, that's all well and good, SwitchUp, you know, I can see it looks quite fun, but yeah, that's what all it is a twin stick shooter with some decent sound, amazing graphics and good gameplay, and well, you'd be right. But also, there's Mechs. Now, if I haven't sold this game to you already, well, I'm going to go out and buy it for you, I reckon. This game for sound gets 17 out of 20. Absolutely incredible. So this brings me on to the value the game offers. It really is a good package here. You'll find that the game unlocks at a steady pace, but clearly, and it's made clear from the start, there is a lot of content on offer. Not only is there a huge single player story available to you, there's also the aforementioned survival mode, which I believe will offer players hours and hours and hours of gameplay. Now I can feel Juan shaking in his boots just knowing that I haven't started the survival mode yet, but let me tell you, Juan, when I do, it's gonna get real. If you guys are watching this right now haven't added me on Switch yet, please see my friend code down below. Make sure that you like and subscribe because, well, you know, we've got to play this survival mode and see who's the best. Maybe we'll have some kind of competition for that as well. For me, value gets a, well, I've used it too many times already, but a fantastic 17 out of 20. And that's without even mentioning that the entire game is playable with a friend over local co-op which is pretty much what SwitchUp started with, so my goodness, just go and buy the game already. It's a strange one talking about the story score at the end, but really is secondary to the gameplay, and I didn't want you to kind of hear this and go, oh okay, I'm going to stop watching now. So the story of the game is, well, as I said, you're fighting against, it's Tesla versus Lovecraft, isn't it? Kind of says what it is, and that is the weakest part of the game. I would only really give story 13 out of 20, as it's not really fleshed out massively. It's not the point of this game, and quite frankly, just ignore this score and deduct 20 and then work out a new percentage. It really isn't just hyperbole to say that this is one of the best games on Switch. It's got fantastic co-op, the gameplay and the gameplay loop are really addictive. The online leaderboards keep you coming back for more. There's a good story, there's an excellent survival mode, and you know what, it's just a really fun game. Overall, we give this a SwitchUp score of 83%. Thanks guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Like I said before, make sure you add me on Switch. We'll try and have a few rounds of this, hopefully. Maybe consider joining the channel or hitting that like button. If you enjoyed the video, please leave a comment down below, and I'll see you guys all on the next one. See ya.